G'day all you beautiful people, I'm Tim Samar!
And I'm Brad Magnamune.
And welcome to Something Different. Now, we've all seen that meme of Elon Musk hitting the blunt, thinking about genetically engineered cat girls. And, so we're actually going to be discussing today the ethics behind it. Is it ethical to actually create cat girls? I don't think I have the physical intelligence for this sort of thing. So, we're going to try anyway. Anyway, take it, Brad!
Recently, I have been watching The Good Place, and if anyone's actually watched that, it's very philosophical on ethics and shit. Towards the end of the series, that's currently available, Season 3, the main ethics professor dude details the 4 main thoughts regarding ethical codes in society. That'll be the way we're basically framing these this discussion. The ethical codes are, first, virtue ethics, where Aristotle kind of believed there are certain ways in which you should try, certain virtues in which you should try to uphold, courage, generosity, things like this. And by trying to uphold these, no matter the consequences, if you try and uphold these ideals, you are a good person. Consequentialism, on the other hand, believes that the ethics of something is determined by its consequences. What happens, it doesn't matter how you go about it. The ends justify the means, or can justify the means, in consequentialism. How much good is put out into the world and how little harm. The ontology is the belief that there are set rules that you must follow to be a good person. This is most easily recognizable in religions. They have codified ethical structures. And finally, there's nihilism, which nothing really matters. So we're just going to ignore nihilism.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter.
If nothing matters, there's nothing ethical or unethical, so catgirls would be neither ethical nor unethical under a nihilistic perspective. So, fuck nihilism, let's talk about the others.
Alright, well guys, let's just dive right into it. Right, so, first thing, I guess we're gonna, since, for the purpose of this video, we're gonna go with, consequentialism, won't we?
Mostly.
Mostly, yeah. Just for that sort of social climate. Not that I really know what I'm talking about here, I'm just kind of going with it. But yeah, so, first thing we're going to have to determine is, what do these catgirls look like? Like, what, I mean, it seems kind of like a vanity sort of thing here, but however, it is actually quite important to know what sort of physical attributes they have.
Not just physical, all their attributes, really.
Yeah, physical, mental, all that sort of thing. So what they're like, how much they are like us. So, okay, the average weeb, when you say catgirl, they're thinking just, ears, tail, at most possibly paws. And the fangs. Obviously the fangs are essential, because even non-catgirls, non-furry-esque beings have fucking fangs. If you've, I don't know, like a good example is like Natsuki from Doki Doki, even though that's technically not Japanese. It's based on Japanese sort of ideals.
Yeah. Another thing to note is they generally think that they have greater agility and propensity towards like hunting and such. And typically less intelligent, less mature than humans. At least in the varieties I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures of catgirls walking on all fours, bringing back like sparrows and shit. I don't know. Which my cat has started doing.
It's basically like a cat in a human's body, with like a really, really, really smart cat in a human's body.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. So we're just for the like we're not going to go with the full fucking like Digimon-esque furry level shit. That's not no. That's borderline.
That's a different video.
Yeah, and probably on Pornhub.
God, probably not.
What cunt? We'll just go with that. We'll go with the ears and the tail. at most with the paws with opposable thumbs. Just because it's easier, it's basic, and when you think Catgirl, that's usually as far as it goes: ears, tail, possibly claws, and the fangs. So they're still very notably human, but they got that the human-esque, furry-esque, fucking peen-esque, and they got all those attributes.
We're talking about Catgirls.
I know. Alright, so what purpose do these Catgirls serve in creation? Let's think. Yes. When you think Catgirl, what do you think? Lust, sex, giving that furry ass bitch the dick, because that's generally speaking. There's always been a sexualization around cats, and they're very graceful sort of figures. Like it's like you see in a lot of like early animations and fucking art forms and shit. I'm not going to provide examples because I'm probably wrong and I'm an idiot. But yeah, you see this the examples
Samurai
there.
Pizza Cats.
That's also an anime. Your point is moot. But no, it's things they did it like Looney Tunes and shit. I'm pretty Tom and Jerry, like they had the sexy cat ladies and shit.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's always so yeah.
Nala.
Yeah, so yeah, they thought of it in a sexualized kind of manner. So primarily, if people got like weebs or otakus or I don't know, fucking anyone wants from a Catgirl is a root, and they can grab the tail while they're going from behind.
But that's not the only thing that Catgirls could be used for. As I said, they'd have greater agility and like hunting capabilities than humans. So I mean, you could use them in like spec ops or various government things. There'd be legitimate government purposes to Catgirl creation. Though that's not what most people would think of when it comes to it. They could also be very good spies and such. Not only that, they'd probably, given that they're like cats, they're like pets, they're cute, they'd do well in things like in the entertainment industry.
Pornhub!
That kind of mixes the first one into there too. But I was thinking like kids shows, like on Sesame Street and stuff.
Pornhub! Say it over and over again.
Pornhub.
Hentai Haven is gone!
Although, it's entirely possible that, given the nature of it, they might be treated more like slaves than like people.
Yeah, there is a bit of a thing there. If they're being...
Hence this question of ethics.
Yeah, the question of ethics, like, if they were created, would they be treated like slaves? It's entirely possible, because are they property? Like,
Well, we'll get into that in the next section.
Yes, but yeah, it's just there's a bit of it depends. Like, would these if they're being manufactured by the government, would they be paid a salary like in the workforce, or would whoever owns them be paid a salary, or would they just be bought like an animal, like a horse or some shit? You know, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, which is the next section. Implications.
Alright, so society would obviously have to mold differently to
the presence of Catgirls.
Yeah, the presence of Catgirls, thank you. Broadly. Yeah, so it'd have to change. Like, obviously, when walking on the streets, you wouldn't just see people of different ages, races, that sort of shit, like a mixture of people. You'd also see Catgirls everywhere. Like think like Chobbits. Have you ever seen Chobbits? They're walking down the streets with their persicoms because they are part of society. They've got their own little niche, their role, and they're a commonplace sort of sight. So obviously, amenities would have to be different to suit Catgirls. Like they'd have you probably wouldn't just go in male, female, frigging handicapped. You'd also need a fucking litter box or some shit, you know? Unless, of course,
scratched.
Giant scratching post
near the playgrounds or something.
Oi, get your fucking Catgirl away from the clothing shop. She scratched up all the couches.
Exactly.
She just took a shit on the couch. Oh god.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, we didn't really cover intelligence earlier.
We've said that they're less intelligent than humans because that's how we tend to picture it, but that doesn't necessarily mean...
Not essentially. Maybe they'd be like ditzy.
Yeah, it could just be ditzy.
Ditzy humans with just like minimal comprehensive abilities. Is that the way to word that? Yeah, comprehensive abilities.
Yep. It's a touchy subject because in this case we would be not only creating something which is kind of like an act of God, but we'd be creating it to be less than us, which, I mean, that has all sorts of things. Is it right to do it? I mean, from the consequentialist point of view, that depends on how much benefit is brought to how many people.
Yeah, depending on how many created, and it still comes down to, are they people? Because the workforce would obviously be different too, because society would have roles that Catgirls could probably fill better. Like if you're watching anime, like putting on cat ears and a tail and going around waiting fucking tables. I'm sure I saw that in anime recently. It's got a lot of appeal. Like, it's got sex appeal. It's really good for the customers. But that is a job that could be given to a person, like not a Catgirl. So that is essentially one less job available for a standard person. However, in the art of creating them, there's also more jobs would open up as well to like Catgirl affairs, like special types of vets that specialize in those kind of things, because obviously the physiology would be quite different to a human or a cat, so you need people who specialize in that.
It might be different from all species currently known. Creating them would be very difficult, and probably just it means we'd either be mutating human genetics or mutating cat genetics, and neither of those sound particularly good, but that's based on deontology. It doesn't sound right based on this concept that we shouldn't be mutating things.
We're mostly like theorizing here, not really hypothesizing. Because you can't test this theory.
Yeah.
Unless you like programmed it into a computer, but you need a really sophisticated sort of program. Different subject.
Very different subject. My interpretation, since they're going to be mostly humanoid, would be taking human DNA and mutating it to become more cat-like.
Yeah, causing the growth of certain things, possibly increasing agility. I don't know how that will work on a practical level, but I'm sure. I don't know. Like, if I think Metal Gear Solid shit, like Solid Snake and Liquid Snake and all that. They'll like had all the positive genes, like the specific genes put into them, and they like into the embryos, and they developed as such. That's probably how they would go about creating the Catgirls. I don't know. And it'd obviously take a few effects to get it right. You just think like, what was it, Alien 3? Kill me!
Yeah.
Yeah. That sort of shit.
But if it comes from human DNA, that's one argument towards them being considered human, and just being a different kind of human. Different race, perhaps.
Think of it like an artificial human, not like an artificial intelligence, because the intelligence would likely still develop quite naturally. But the whole purpose of their creation would be, the only reason they would be created is not because we can, it's because they'd be created to make our lives better, essentially. Which is when it comes down to like property, pet, or person again.
Yeah, I mean, if they're considered property, then their creation would be ethical, because they would bring even a modicum of benefit to people at virtually no harm to anyone. Then yeah, it would be ethical. But if they're pets, then we have to consider the animal rights aspect. Is it wrong to create something in this direct way out of humans? Then it's sort of like... It'd be sort of like taking a more direct route than selective breeding, except to be using humans as a base. So it's
a very complicated subject.
Very complicated. It would depend
scientific perspective.
From a scientific perspective, you could either have them as property or person. You wouldn't really call them pets, because they're, as I said, most likely from a human base. That you would have to call them humans, and therefore I would consider them people. But we're not talking about the science of it. We're talking about just the thing has occurred, and if it's occurred in a way that isn't based on human genetics, maybe it's created entirely new, then it could be a pet. And if it's a pet, then their creation is only as wrong as selective breeding
of dogs, for example.
Yeah, like pugs. Is it unethical to create pugs?
Those miniature huskies.
Yeah, like pomskies.
Pomskies,
like fucking adorable. Or corgskis.
Yeah, I mean, if they were sentient, as a general implication of Catgirls, when you think of them, they've got a degree of sentience. They can think for themselves, they can speak, and it's just that stupid nya thing. Nya! Nya! Master, please! Fuck my pussy! Nya!
Flashback to Honey Pop.
Oh shit! Yes! Oh, that's right, I forgot about that character.
The thing about it, though, is... I think that, with their sentience, even with their sentience, they could still be considered pets. I mean, look at chimps and, like, gorillas and bonobos. They all have the capacity for language. It's not necessarily speech, but they can understand language, which is proven by gorillas doing sign language, and bonobos being taught their own languages. They create their own languages. Just because they never developed naturally in the wild doesn't mean that they can't do it. But we still treat chimps like pets, gorillas like, well, animals. They're not people. They don't get human rights. They get animal rights. Sure, they have higher precedence. We don't test on chimps before we've tested on, like, mice. But that doesn't change the fact that they're still just pets. It really would depend on what is a person.
An assembly of meat and a lot of narcissism. Ta-da!
So if we remove narcissism from their genes, they can't be people.
I don't know how to answer that. You're not really wrong.
Yeah, I know, right? So there are ways... I mean, once you decide what a person is, there will be a way of modifying the genes of the Catgirl to make them not human. If it's based on personality, level of maturity and such, that, well, you can't base it on that because there are really immature people right now, and we're still considering them human.
Yeah.
Like, the, mentally challenged. If it's based on physical ability.
Oh, that is a real bag of worms, Brad.
Exactly. That's the whole thing about ethics. It's a big bag of worms, and we can't answer this question.
I mean, and then you go to the next freaking area of the subject. How would people respond to race of different coloured Catgirls? Like, would they have different coloured skins? Would their fur be
No.
What a fucking...
No!
But yeah, ultimately, I don't know exactly. It all depends on their level of intelligence, how well that, like, honestly, technically speaking, if you got a Catgirl and you could hide the tail and ears and they pass off as a person, they're pretty much a person.
Yeah, trans person. Transhuman.
Please stop making this hard.
Okay, so chances are, based on the description we've given, the Catgirls would fit most people's definition of human. They might fit the definition of a lesser human, but it's still a human, and therefore they would get human rights, which means we would have all sorts of conundrums regarding how they would integrate.
But this comes back to be like, would they be slaves? Because slaves were people that were property,
Yeah, but
and they didn't have human rights.
Yeah, but the difference is, slaves were people that we just kind of captured and made into property, whereas Catgirls would be people we made for our own benefit.
So, yeah, but are we creating people or are we creating abominations? But I'm not going to talk about the religious aspects of that, because I'm not a religious person. I don't understand a lot of that shit. I don't touch little boys at fucking Bible camps, you know?
Probably should.
I don't have to go to Bible camp for that shit.
On that topic, we should talk about... No. Cut that entire bit out. God damn it, Tim.
Hey, you dropped the fucking trans thing before. That was payback.
Where are we coming back to?
Are they people?
The question is, are they people? I think that based on the description we've given, they would be. Are they people? Is it ethical to have slaves if we create them ourselves? No.
No.
Fuck.
So essentially, we have just drawn a conclusion, even though we weren't thought.
AI.
What we weren't thought. Essentially, we have just drawn a conclusion without when we thought we weren't going to draw a total conclusion here.
But that's based on our understanding of what it means to be a person.
Because yeah, we didn't script this. We decided to put down some job points and like flesh out a discussion, and it's driven us to this point. Is it ethical to create people to be our slaves? Essentially.
Effectively, that's what we've come to the conclusion of through this discussion. These Catgirls, we described them, would fit under the definition of a person. So, is it ethical to create people to make slaves? And you can easily say, if it is ethical to do that, to create slaves, out of like genetically create slaves, why does it have to be a Catgirl? Based on the definition, well, we've given, they fit our definition of person. And so therefore the question is it ethical to genetically create slaves? We believe no. Because by consequentialism, you'd be creating something to benefit some at the extreme harm of another. And also by virtue ethics, it's not...
slavery is wrong.
Slavery is wrong. Also, no, that's deontological. Slavery is wrong.
My apologies. I'm not a sociologist or a
Ethics.
trans-poply, fucking mobbly, big word cunt.
You're not a big word cunt. Gotcha. But by virtue ethics, it's actually kind of lazy, which is kind of a vice.
It's basically just like when it comes down to it. And the only person who would actually do that would probably do it so they could fuck a cat girl. Hello, Elon Musk. How are you today, sir? Oh, nah, I wouldn't give that guy shit. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no. And, I mean... sorry, I need to arrange my thoughts. Then, with the question answered of whether or not it's ethical to create them as slaves... There, we've already answered that. But what if we create them but give them human rights? Is it unethical to create Catgirls if we're going to treat them as people?
Okay, that raises another question. Why? Why would we bother?
Because some people are attracted to Catgirls. There's a market for it.
Yes, but it's
capitalism.
And there's going to be 50% people fucking opposed to it. And you're going to need to join like some NRA equivalent of having a fucking cat girl in your premises or some shit.
Well, I mean, the NRA exists because of the right in America to have a gun.
They have to rewrite the Constitution to affect that shit.
Rewrite the Constitution to...
Don't take away my cat slaves!
But no, if we gave them human rights, it wouldn't necessarily be immoral or unethical to create them. Because, I mean... Oh, fuck. It could be because they wouldn't have parents, necessarily. Especially not the first generation. The closest would be the scientists who created them.
Yeah, we never really touched on if they be genetically compatible from a breeding perspective.
Yeah, I don't imagine they would be, and I don't think that at least the first couple generations would probably be sterile, just based on lack of knowledge in genetics. But eventually, it might be possible to have catgirls that can breed, and if they can't breed with humans, then they aren't humans. Then where does it leave us?
We'd have to make cat boys for an and even then that's
Cat
more
traps.
fucking problems. Cat traps, yeah, okay, everyone's happy. Because we all know you guys like chicks with dicks. Okay? How many of you fucks were disappointed when Yan Yan cosplay was not a fucking trap? Suck my fucking cock.
You aren't anywhere near feminine enough for that.
Give me a chance. No catgirls were harmed in the making of this video. Just their IQ.